Hello guys, and welcome to another video. Today I wanted to talk about Nvidia's Geforce Now. It's a streaming service that came out of beta a few days ago. It's been around for a lot of years, and it's kind of flown under the radar. I mean, there's been a lot going on with cloud gaming lately, and I haven't heard a lot of people talking about this one. This is a good article up from The Verge that I want to go over real quick and talk a little bit about what Geforce Now is and what it does and why it's different from all the other services. And then we'll jump in and take a look at the app itself and kind of take a quick look at how that works. I know some people have been having some issues with it. So basically for the past 8 years, Nvidia has been building graphics cards that can stream games over the internet, effectively putting some of the power of gaming PCs inside your less potent Windows laptop, MacBook, or phone. Today, the company is finally ready to let North America and Europe sign up to pay for its Geforce Now service, starting at $5 a month. Not really even just starting at $5 a month, it starts at free, and then there's $5 a month, while also offering unlimited 1-hour free trials that don't even require a credit card. And it's not really unlimited 1-hour free trials. You just have to kind of close your session and go back in, but we'll get into that. The idea might sound familiar if you've heard of Google Stadia's service, Sony's PlayStation Now, Microsoft's upcoming xCloud service, or Nvidia's Geforce Now. Nvidia's Geforce Now has been in beta for years and years, and it has had a false start. Each service operates on the same basic principle, delivering games much the same way you can stream a YouTube or Netflix video right now. Except there is big differences with Geforce Now that I like. I've been using the service this weekend. I'm using the 90-day free promotion, which we'll get into as we get further down. But so far, it's working great, and we'll take a look at it here in a little bit. So unlike Google, Sony, and Microsoft's offerings, Nvidia has a very different pitch. It's your existing library of PC games that you now play anywhere, instead of having to buy new games and or subscribe to a Netflix-like catalog. Nvidia supports Steam, Epic Games Store, Battle.net, and Uplay. I'm pretty sure they'll add more soon. If they were to add like Game Pass and Origin, that would be awesome. It runs instances of each of those in the cloud. You can log into your accounts, download many of your existing purchases, nearly instant to your cloud desktop, sync your save games, and pick up where you left off in a couple of minutes. No patches necessary. So yeah, that's what's pretty cool. And I know that's where some people are getting tripped up when you go to when you go into the app and you go to launch a game, and it queues you up to do an install. And people are thinking it's asking to install on your PC, and it's not. You're installing on the cloud server, and it's basically an instant install. And I'm going to do one of those when we get done with this article and we took a look at the app. So they've been testing Geforce Now on and off for a number of years, and it is their favorite cloud gaming service. You can keep playing the games you've already been playing on your PC, on your weak Windows laptop, MacBook, Shield, TV set-top, or Android phone. Unfortunately, there's no iPhone or iPad support yet, and there may or may not be, but they are talking about a WebRTC version, so you never know if that's something that could wind up working on iPhones or iPads. While the streaming quality isn't as good as Stadia at its best, and might not recommend it for competitive gaming, although I did play some Call of Duty on there, it does a pretty decent job if you have a good connection. So the primary, getting into as far as like kind of speed of your internet, I think this suggests a little bit higher than what Stadia does, but I think Nvidia is really being pretty honest about what the service is capable of. So they say the primary catch is that you need an excellent internet connection, a capable Wi-Fi router, or Ethernet cable. You must live somewhere that isn't too far from Nvidia's servers to begin with. The company says its 9 data centers in North America and 6 in Europe can reach 80% of broadband homes within 20 milliseconds. Theoretically, speedy enough for gamers to feel like they're not lagging behind your button press, and it claims it's achieving 10 milliseconds round-trip latency with its partners in Tokyo. Nvidia's talking to carriers in the US too, but there's nothing to announce yet as far as like wireless. So yeah, and I'm playing the game. Like I said, I played some Call of Duty and a couple of other games, and I put the feeling of the controls in between what my console is, like my Xbox One X hooked up to my 4K TV, and then I have my PC where if I'm playing at 144 FPS and there's pretty much almost no lag at all, I noticed on playing on Geforce Now, it's like in between those. It feels pretty good. I don't feel like it's as behind as my console, but it's definitely not as snappy as the PC. But even the fact that it feels that decent so far, at least on my setup, that's pretty good. I expected it to feel much laggier, much worse, especially in a first-person shooter. So they go on to say, and though you can bring your own games, you can't bring them all. While Nvidia has a substantial list of hundreds of titles, including huge multiplayer games like Fortnite, Dota 2, Overwatch, PUBG, Destiny 2, and Rainbow Six Siege, it's also conspicuously missing top games from Capcom, EA, Konami, Remedy, Rockstar, and Square Enix, even though most of those publishers participated during the beta period. So my assumption is to come out of beta, there's just some games they're trying to get to run better. Who knows? I'm sure over this year and next year, we're going to see a lot more games come out, and we'll probably start seeing new releases available on your Geforce Now fairly quickly, if not at launch, which would be really cool to see, because the service so far seems like it has a ton of potential. While Nvidia is also taking this moment to upgrade its cloud gaming servers with ray tracing capable RTX server graphics cards, so you can now play a ray traced game even on your Android phone. It's a shame that flagship RTX games like Control, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, and Final Fantasy 15 are missing. So hopefully they'll come soon. I'm sure they will. I think Call of Duty, Mech Warrior might be one. There's like two or three titles right now with RTX, which you have to be paying the $5 a month for. It says we're going to charge 0% of their sales. We're making it easy for them to say yes, but some publishers are taking a wait and see attitude. See how good the service does before they allow their game to be on there. It's also worth noting that there are over 1,000 games that Nvidia supports, but doesn't cache locally in its server farms, meaning you'll need to download them to Nvidia servers each time you play. Catch number 3. You can't play whenever you want for as long as you necessarily like. You can play an hour at a time for free, but you might have to sit on a wait list. If you're paying $5 a month for the Founders Plan, you get priority access and can play for 6-hour stretches. That seems like more than plenty for me, and Nvidia will alert you well in advance so you can wrap up a session, but it's something to keep in mind. And even those 1 hour and 6-hour sessions, if you close your game out and quit the session and then jump right back in, that restarts the timer. So as long as you're not in a spot where a save is an issue, you can basically play indefinitely for free, or at your 6-hour mark, if you need to keep going, you could leave and go back in, and that 6 hours would restart. So for free, you get standard access and a 1-hour session length. You never have to pay anything. You get access to your library of games, any that Geforce Now supports. For the $4.99 Founders, you get priority access, so you shouldn't have to wait on any waiting list. You get extended session length, which should be 6 hours. You get RTX on for games that support it, and there will be more coming. And then you get a free 90-day introductory period. And this is why I signed up. The free 90 days is what I'm on right now. That's pretty substantial. Getting to use the service for 3 months before even putting out $5 is really good. There's almost no reason not to give it a try, unless it's just something you absolutely would not use. So really not bad at all. So let's see what else we got here. But the nice part is that you don't have to take my word on like the current state of Google Stadia. You won't have to invest $130 worth of hardware just to try out a glorified beta, then buy your games again, wondering when Google's free tier might arrive. So even when Google's free tier arrives, you're going to have to buy the games. So if you want to go on Google Stadia right now, it's $130. You get the controller. You got to pay the $10 a month premier price, because there's not a free version right now. So you're $130 plus $10 a month, and then you have to buy the games. So if you want to play a new game, $60. So it's quite expensive to get started on Stadia, unless it's something that you just really, really want to be doing. There's not a lot of reason, and I know there's been a lot of criticism of Stadia since it's come out. I think that xCloud is going to be a great service when it comes out. I think Microsoft's taking their time to get that where it needs to be, and on top of that, it's going to have all the Game Pass games. It's going to have the exclusives that come out. So, and I think it's going to work really well. It's going to stream well. They've been building up the servers for years, getting ready. So I do think the xCloud is going to be a good service and way better than Stadia when it does release. I know Amazon's working on one, but I'm not sure what that one's going to be doing. From my 2 days with Geforce Now so far, it's great. To me, it's the best service, in my opinion, also so far, because it is a complement to your library that you already own. It uses your existing saves, your existing games, your existing Steam library. Yeah, the caveat is that Geforce Now doesn't support every game yet, and it is going to take them time to keep building up. But the service did just come out of beta. It's working really well. I have been streaming 1080p 60 without much trouble. I did that on a horrible laptop earlier, and I've done it on my high-end PC, which we're going to take a look at here next. So I'm definitely for Nvidia's Geforce Now. Hopefully it continues to grow, and hopefully they keep that price low, and it's a great complement to the local gaming. So let's take a look at the Geforce Now app. This is running on my RTX 2060 Ryzen 3600 build that I do a lot of tests for the channel on. And so far I just have in here Fortnite 2, World War Z, Dead Cells, Paladins, and Destiny 2 and Call of Duty Modern Warfare. All these games ran just fine. They ran really well without any issues. Now, to go over just a couple of things with the app that might help you out, go into your settings, and over here you have your options. This will be different for each device that you have. This isn't a cross-device saved. You can go in here on each device and set this up, what's going to work best for you. So you can do a test network. I've already done this where you'll get the best connection that you can get for where you're at. And then you have your option here for streaming quality. So you can do balanced. Balanced takes full advantage of available bandwidth to deliver the best possible image quality and gameplay. And this is basically giving them control over your resolution and your FPS while you're gaming. If your speeds go up or down, they're going to adjust the quality of the game while you're playing. Data server. Data server minimizes the amount of data used while playing, while still delivering good image quality and gameplay. So if you're on mobile or you have a data cap on your Wi-Fi, data saver might be something that would work better for you. Competitive optimizes your streaming settings to deliver lowest possible latency. There again, that one's going to be even more leaning toward lowering your FPS if need be, and even more so your resolution. You might go down to 720p or something else like that. Custom is what I'm pretty much going on for my devices just to see how the service does. So I'm going 1080p, 60 frames a second. For the most part, I'm wanting to turn off adjust for poor network conditions, because sometimes, even if you still have enough bandwidth, enough speed to run the 1080p 60, it starts to compensate anyway, and you can see the resolution drop down and back, and maybe on some devices or some connections that might be needed. But I find on here I really don't. It just seems to run pretty smoothly. So once you get this set up how you want it, you're all good. You go back. Now they're going to have the featured section with their featured games that they support right now. But this isn't the only games. It happens to be the only place you'll see a list. So if you want to find your game and see if it's supported, you need to do a search. So you go into find your games. You do a search for a game like I was saying, I had Call of Duty. We've got World War II in here. They don't even have real thumbnails yet. You can see for the Call of Duty games, but there's a lot of them in here that are supported. The newer one I already have in here. You can see it says play instead of add to my library. And once you get your games added in here that you want to be able to play, I'm going to purposely pick one that I don't have installed on the server yet. Hopefully this goes right, and I want to show you what's going to happen. And a lot of people think it's asking you to do one thing when it's not. So Dead Cells is going to be through Steam. So we'll click play. The other small drawback, and it's not a big deal to me because I log into a lot of launchers anyway, but when you go through here, you will have to re-put in your password every time. Each time you go in to play the game to log into the launchers, that should pop up here. So it's going to connect to the account. Okay, so it may not have me have to relog back into Steam, which would be nice. It was doing it earlier where every time I went in I had to relog in, and it seems like this time it went right in. So what this is doing, this isn't running Steam on your PC. This is a virtual session, something going on the Nvidia cloud. This is their own little closed session that's going on there. So we're already good to go. It's in our library. We own it. You click play now. And it's going to ask you to do an install if you haven't played the game yet on the service. None of this really means anything here. You don't need to do anything. This is all virtual. This is all being run in the cloud. You just next to install. It's done. Click finish. It's done already. It's an instant install. It's just a little caveat. It's a little thing you need to do each time before you play a game for the first time. It's going to have to get installed on your own little virtual desktop server. So we'll click play now. You'll see preparing to launch Dead Cells. And there you go. We're completely running off of the Geforce Now server. Our Steam account is linked. We're running our save game, and we're running my version of Dead Cells right now. We'll go check out options. So you can't really do a lot with settings with the games. They're going to be 1080p 60. Even if you have a game that says it's running quicker or whatever the case, or you change your resolution, it's not going to matter. So no matter what game, you can go in and do some stuff and try to change it, but it's really not going to do much. You're going to get 1080p 60. RTX does seem to work. I'm going to further test those games and compare them to them running natively on my PC in another video for Geforce Now, but for this one I just wanted to do the overview. I haven't played this in a while, but I'm just going to jump in to show that it works, and especially on this PC, hardwired into my router and everything. It really feels close to PC response time. It really feels pretty good. I'm not going to bother trying to show the controller and the latency thing. I mean, you're not going to see it on this camera very well, but it's quick. It's quick. Oh, Devo. I have not played this game in forever. One of my buddies plays this game all the time. But yeah, anything I've opened up so far gives me no problem at all. Now I'm going to try not to edit this video down too much. I really want you to see how long things take and how things act. So once you're in a game and you're playing, you hit Alt F4 and it's going to bring up a little Geforce Now screen for quitting your game. This is how you actually close the session out. If you don't do it this way, then you're not necessarily closing the session right away and your timer is going to keep going and everything. So as soon as we hit quit, it'll close that session out and take us right back to the beginning. I'm going to go ahead and boot up a Call of Duty Modern Warfare just to show you that it works. We should get 1080p 60 FPS. And there again, I'm going to try to do this uncut and just let you see how long it takes. Alright guys, so unfortunately I had to cut out just the login part. A little annoying. Blizzard does make you use the verification emailed code every time and log in every time you jump in here. Hopefully they'll find a way to get around that and make that a little bit smoother. But anyway, now that we're logged in, same as before, we'll click play. Now if you haven't played this before, it'll be the same thing. It'll either say install or update right here. You'll click it and it's almost instantaneous. It's not on your PC, it's on the server, and then you'll be able to click play and go right in. So far this has worked flawlessly. I haven't had any bugs, crashes, problems, nothing I could report as an issue. So far the service works pretty much exactly as they advertise it to. So let's see if we can speed up this. There we go. So I always get this little bit of lag in the beginning here. I'm loading up Call of Duty Modern Warfare. On my PC I can just skip right through this and it's no issue. But loading up on the server, this spot always does this exact same thing and takes a little bit of time. And you'll see the FPS counter up in the top. The game running at much higher FPS than what the stream is actually giving you. We're getting 1080p 60. See if it does this error. If it does, I want you guys to see in case you're getting the same thing. It also never finishes the installing shaders for some reason. It wants to always just sit at 100% on my PC. It finishes just fine, but so far on the server it always kind of gets stuck. Well, this time we didn't get an error for getting online. We'll go right into multiplayer here just to show you what it does. Moderate, there's nothing you can really do about the NAT type on your when you're running natively on your PC. Of course, you've got port forwarding, you've got all kinds of options you can go through on your PC, and you can get that to an open NAT. I don't have any problem with open on my PC, but there's nothing you can do playing it from their server. That's on them. You can't do anything about the internet settings. You can do whatever you want with your PC, and you're not going to change that. You can't seem to fix that. Maybe that'll be something that they work on in the future. But you can see we're getting into a level. We'll see how long it takes to load the level in. I know on my SSD, on my playing locally, it's pretty fast. I get less than 4 or 5 seconds loading time once we start going in. You can see it'll always say Nvidia VGX, Tesla T10. You can see that little red connection over here. I always get that join in a match. So far I haven't had it stop me. It usually just fixes once we start going in. Let's see what it does here. I don't know if it has to do with joining a match. Or what it is, but I seem to get that connection issue and that happening while I'm waiting on loading level. Just on this game so far. So I know it's kind of boring to just sit here and watch a game load and see what it's doing, but because I'm trying to show the service, I'm trying to show what it is really like to use Geforce Now, and to get it working, what the settings are, how you install the games, and what it's like getting in and out of the games. I just felt like it was important to try to show in real time what was really happening and how it works. But once we get into the match, we'll finish up the video and we'll get you out of here. So you can see we're finally getting into the match, going into loading the level. This is usually almost instantaneously happening on my PC, and pretty quick here. So now that we're into the match, everything seems to be good. No lag there. And as like I said, you can see the FPS counter up there, but that doesn't mean anything. It may be running that good on their server, I'm not sure, but it's not what it's doing here. .1080p on a 1440p monitor, so I mean, on my end, it's not perfect, but it still looks pretty good, honestly. And the control response time right here, I can't really show it to you very easily with the way I'm recording this video right now, but like I was explaining earlier during the article, it's very much like in between console and PC. It is if I were to get on my Xbox One X right now, it would not be near as responsive as what this is right now on Geforce Now. Not near as responsive. This is way more responsive than my console. It's not near as crispy and as quick as running on my PC natively, locally running the game, but for a streaming service, this was surprising to me. Very surprising. Supposedly we are ray traced enabled. I'm going to do some testing on the PC versus the stream and try to see what I can see if I can tell, but the different comparisons. But yeah, Geforce Now. I'm having a good experience with it. I could say so far it's my favorite streaming service. It's more or less a complement to the games and saves and all the purchases you've already made. It's just a complement to that. You're not gonna have to subscribe to this service and then start buying games again. That's one of the problems with like Google Stadia. You spend all that money, then you gotta buy a game, and then there's not that many people on. So like if you go on Destiny 2 or something, the player base is small. There's just not a lot of people, as to where if you're using Geforce Now, you're playing like Steam Destiny, and there's a lot of people. So yeah, this feels way better than console, even at the 1080p 60 on this monitor. Yeah, great. Alright guys, thanks a lot for coming and checking out the video. I hope this was somewhat informative, helps you understand a little bit about Geforce Now, what it is, what it costs, why it costs what it costs, and that it actually works pretty good. I haven't really been having any issues with it, and with that 90-day free trial, give it a shot. Alright guys, thanks a lot for coming and checking out the video again. If you haven't already, click that subscribe button, give the video a thumbs up if you liked it, and I'll catch you in the next one.